White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. They lined up for hours beforehand to get into Guaranteed Rate Field for game number 2 between the Sox and the A's, but this day really is about that number behind second base, number 56. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you, and look, Mark Buehrle was surrounded by people he cared about, surrounded by people he played with, he was coached by, he was selected by, and the overwhelming feeling in this ballpark was love for number 56, and not only what he did on the field, but what he stood for as well.
And also not only the accomplishments of Mark Buehrle today, but we saw his son sing the national anthem. We saw his daughter throw out the first pitch. Mark Buehrle was able to squat down and actually catch it, which is a major accomplishment, being the fact that he's retired and all. But it was a beautiful day today. The ceremony was absolutely gorgeous. Everybody who spoke did a great job, and it was nice of all of his teammates to come out to honor him today. That's how special he was to everybody who was fortunate enough to play with him on the same team, because if you listen to all of them, they will tell you he probably was the single best teammate they ever had.
Let's tell you about today's game, game 2 in this series, and the pitching matchup is what?
Well, as you can see, you have a veteran in James Shields, who threw the ball very well at Toronto. He got a no decision, but that didn't diminish how well he actually did, and he used 86 pitches in 5 2/3. Daniel Gossett making his third major league start. The first one was a disaster. Last time out against Houston, he threw it pretty well, and he's got a good curveball when he's right. We'll see today how that works out. It's a very lively day at the park, and the ball should be flying today.
It's electric in a couple of ways. We will hear from Mark Buehrle in the 3rd inning. He will be up in the booth to join us, and we look forward to talking to him. Maybe it'll be 2 hours. We'll see if we'll have a Buehrle day here at Guaranteed Rate Field. Game number 2 between the Sox and A's coming up as we celebrate number 56. Overhead for Mark Buehrle Day as the Sox take the field, and there's the new number right in between Frank and Pudge. Just below the upper deck here at the ballpark, and fairly fitting who the A's will oppose on the mound today. Here is the Oakland lineup: Joyce and Olson, the 2 Mats up top, then Ryan Healy, Chris Davis, Yonder Alonso, Bruce Maxwell. Franklin Barreto, the top prospect in the A's system, is up. And starting today, Brugman and Rosales 8 and 9.
Let's take a look at the defense and how they'll line up behind James Shields. Melky Cabrera, Alan Hansen, and Avisail Garcia in the outfield, with Todd Frazier, Tim Anderson, Yolmer Sanchez, and Jose Abreu in the infield. Kevin Smith gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher is James Shields. On for his 5th start. Last time out against Toronto, he threw it very well. Spent a couple of months on the disabled list, the first time he's been disabled in the course of his very long and very successful career. The umpires for the game this afternoon. DJ Rayburn has the plate. The crew chief Sam Holbrook is at first. Greg Gibson at second, and Jim Wolf is at third. Ricky Renteria, who got ejected from the ball game last night, trying to defend Tim Anderson. Probably trying to go the distance today. There is the skipper of the Oakland A's, Bob Melvin, and a good one he is. He had a talk with his team before the game last night, and they talked about just more focus, more intensity, and more concentration on the road, where going into last night's game, the record was dismal. They did win the ball game, however, behind some pretty good pitching. So Bob Melvin got his message across. So they're throwing the ball around the infield, which means on this gorgeous day, on Mark Burley Day, we're ready to play baseball. I'm ready to turn over to my play-by-play partner, Jason Benetti.
Steve, thank you very much. And I say it's fitting that James Shields would be on the mound today because his cousin, Aaron Rowan, was a teammate of Mark Burley's here on Burley Day. Shields will face Joyce first. Yeah, Mark was here first in 2000. Aaron Rowan made it to the big leagues in 2001, and they played together until the end of the 2005 season, which you may have heard ended in some hardware for this here franchise. First pitch, strike one, and we are underway exactly at 1:30 this Saturday afternoon, and a day that nobody who's here will ever forget. Joyce a foul ball, 2 strikes. Matt Joyce last night was part of the 2-home run night for the Oakland A's. His leadoff home run in the 5th was a tack-on run, we eventually found out. Chris Davis's 2-run homer in the first inning was enough to give the A's the win in the shutout victory. Check swing, ball in the dirt, and no go, says the third base umpire Jim Wolf, who was the umpire who ejected both Ricky Renteria and Tim Anderson last night. One and two from Shields to Joyce.
Infield playing Joyce is a dead pull hitter. Outfield pretty much straight away. Alan Hansen might be a couple of steps to the right of center field, but no radical shift in the outfield.
Ball and 2 strikes. James Shields to Matt Joyce. And he spikes it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That first start off the DL for James Shields over the weekend in Toronto. Sunday was pretty good for most of the time. He gave up 3 earned runs, but 2 of those were on the last pitch he threw, a home run for Russell Martin. Just off the plate, 3 balls, 2 strikes. There's Matt Olson, the young right fielder, just 23 years old. Mentioned Barreto, who's batting 7th today, the top prospect for Oakland. He is up with the injury to Chad Pinder that he suffered yesterday. That's just off the plate as well, and ball 4 to lead off the game.
Tried a backdoor breaking ball, and this one doesn't get there. He tried to shave off the outside corner with that cutter, and not a particularly good way to start, especially with the thunder these guys have in the middle of their lineup. They don't do a lot of things offensively on this team. What they do is hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Came into the series with 99 home runs. They had the 2 yesterday for now 101. That ball is hit well, very well, by Olson. And it's 2-0 Oakland in the first for the 2nd straight day. Home run number 1, RBIs 4 and 5.
We knew Olson had some power. He showed it to you there. That was a blast.
Very first home run of Matt Olson's career in plate appearance number 50.
That went out over the middle of the plate, and Olson crushed it. Our Ford home run replay, wind, no wind, it doesn't really matter. That one is way back there.
Matt Olson can tell his friends and family that he got his first career home run on Mark Burley Day. Today I played Grinch, he says.
With the arrival of Barreto, most of the good young players in the system are here in the major leagues. They will get Marcus Semien back to play shortstop in the not too distant future.
Pinder is one of those guys too, one of that next wave of players for Oakland. So with him on the shelf, they lose the 25-year-old shortstop. But again, you talked about it with Semien coming back. There was going to be some shuffling going on, and now Barreto gets the opportunity with Pinder on the disabled list. That ball hit in the air to the left-hand side by Healy, and Melky fading to make the play for out number 1 today.
I think you saw what the wind is going to do today. Anything up in the air has got a good chance of leaving the ballpark, and Melky had that ball measured seemingly all the way, and it drifted almost to the warning track. And there you see that wind is blowing very briskly out to left center field. We said it would be very lively here. It's going to be just that.
One down for Chris Davis, a guy who certainly can take advantage of the gale force winds. He's got 19 home runs, and he's spun around by Shields here in his first at bat. Home run he hit yesterday was an absolute dart to center field. First pitch fastball against Mike Pelfrey in the first inning.
Last night, Mike Pelfrey said it was a sinker that didn't sink until it was on its way leaving the ballpark. But Chris Davis does not have a two-strike approach. He swings with bad intentions each and every pitch.
He has an angry swing.
He just unloads each time. He's not worried about the strikeout. He's going to strike out close to 200 times if he gets enough playing time, but he also could probably be right where he was last year with 42 home runs. He's fanned 98 times already, but he does continue to hit the ball out of the park.
He is from Deer Valley High School in Arizona. There was one other Major League Baseball player who came through the halls of that high school, and he is Bob Howry. Two balls, 2 strikes on Davis, who, to the point of the strikeouts, in his last 16 games, he has 25 strikeouts.
Well, you're not going to see him choking up trying to hit the ball to right. That's for sure. He might hit the ball to right, but it's not going to be choking up and defending with 2 strikes.
Takes there, 3-2. Oakland team comes in at 32 and 42. That's 17.5 back of Houston, which lost yesterday to drop to just 50 and 25.
They're really struggling.
Davis fouls it off his body. The other day against Oakland, George Springer got hit early in that game, had to leave for Houston. It was a 4-game sweep of the A's by the Astros. Called strike 3.
We'll take another look where Kevin wants it. It's a fastball. Close enough. Davis thought it was ball 4. He might have had a case.
File that under T for too close to take.
And you have certainly the appellate process, which will do no good whatsoever.
Well, with rising court costs and all. Ball one to Yonder Alonso, who has 17 home runs this year. However, quite a bit of that production came in the first 2 months of the season. He has been less inclined to homer recently.
Well, for the first time this year, he's in a slump, and that's why you see an expanded strike zone. Right now, it's nose to toes for Alonso, former first-round pick of the Cincinnati Reds. He has discovered a whole lot of power this year in his final year of his contract. The free agent or walk year seems to produce some wonderful performances out of a whole lot of players, knowing that the better they do in their walk year, the more years and the more dollars they're going to wind up with.
Well, you've said it before, you're playing for 29 other teams, if not your own. 2 balls and a strike. And that's outside. Smith thought he was holding strike 2. Instead, it's ball 3.
And for Oakland, one way or the other, regardless of the resolution of this at bat or the inning, it's been a successful inning because James is ready to deliver pitch number 24.
Pretty good location there on 3-1. Now 3-2. Yonder Alonso out of Miami, both the area and the university.
He gets together with a lot of players during the wintertime and talked with them about the stroke. He completely revamped his stroke heading into this year.
It's ball 4, second walk of the inning for Oakland. And now Maxwell, the catcher, will bat. Well, the last thing the Sox want in this circumstance, with no off days coming up in the near future, is having to back up a short outing by a starter once again. Pelfrey went 4 2/3 yesterday. It took 4 relievers to swallow up the remainder of that 4 1/3. There's a strike.
And including last night's game, the starting pitching has really had some troubles recently. 6 quality starts in the last 29 ball games. And that puts an inordinate amount of pressure on your bullpen. So last night it was Beck, Jennings, Swarzak, and David Holmberg coming out of the bullpen.
There's a strike called. 0-2. You saw Don Cooper, who had some really neat words regarding Mark Buehrle and how much Coop took from Buehrle that he still uses with pitchers right now with the Sox.
He also remembers the hour and 39-minute game he threw against Ryan Franklin and the Mariners.
I think Maxwell thought he struck out there as well. He was turning for the dugout.
Actually, this was a better pitch than the called strike on the previous pitch. Tried another backdoor cutter. Looks to be right there. Did not get the benefit of the call, but he's well ahead in the count.
One and two. Check swing, and he went around. Strike 3. Maxwell departs, and the inning's over. But Matt Olson with his first career home run. Oakland leads 2-0 as the young Daniel Gossett comes out of the dugout to face the Sox. center field. Then Melky and Abreu down to his typical 3 spot after 2 yesterday. Garcia, Frazier, Davidson, Tim Anderson, then Kevin Smith on his 6-game hit streak, and Yolmer Sanchez batting 9th.
Let's take a look at the defense, and now Bob Melvin is going to line them up behind Daniel Gossett. It's Davis, Brugman, and Olsen in the outfield with Healy, Rosales, Barreto, and Alonso in the infield. Bruce Maxwell gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is the youngster Daniel Gossett in his 3rd Major League start. There you look at the numbers. He had a disastrous start the first time out. Last time out, threw it very well against Houston. And the key to him will be that curveball. He added a cutter, and that really changed him as he led this organization in strikeouts last year. That cutter, pretty good pitch for him. The curveball, his best breaking pitch, and a fastball that is going to be anywhere from 92 to 94.
He'll face Alan Hansen first. You see number 56 on the back of the mound in honor of Mark Buehrle's jersey retirement today. Nobody will wear that jersey again for the Chicago White Sox. And there it is behind second base as well. Up high to Hansen, 2 balls and no strikes. You were talking about the start for Gossett that first time back on June the 14th. 3 1/3, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 homers, and just 1 strikeout against the Marlins.
He just was real tight that day, and the fastball was 89 miles an hour. A lot of nerves, but he came back in his second start throwing it very well, and the fastball should sit where it does anywhere. We talked about it, 92 to 94.
Just a 24-year-old right-hander, Gossett, who they did allow to go 100 pitches in that game against Houston. They lost the game, but he's 6 2/3, 2 earned runs.
2nd-round draft pick by Oakland out of Clemson.
On the ground, second base. Barreto's first play is a good one for out number 1. I'll tell you about our picks to click today. Should have let me pick Buehrle. Tie up top, Hansen and Sanchez to Steve and the crew. I'm being caught by the fans. I don't think I've won in like a month. It's a dry spell.
Yeah, you're in a slump, but you'll break out of it here soon.
Thank you. Yeah.
In August, September.
Fans take Avi today. I'll go Kevin Smith. Look, he's on a 6-game hit streak. I need all the help I can get.
And if he doesn't extend that, I'm going to hate to tell him you picked him and that was the result of it, but maybe he'll have a big day today.
You know, I do think I won about a week and a half ago, because Kevin Smith told us that he had heard that I chose him for picks to click, and he, whether seriously or not, thanked me for it. He said it was Mike Kashersky, the Sox wonderful replay czar and BP thrower, who tipped him off on the picks to click deal. And by the way, Mike Kashersky, who throws batting practice all the time, he caught the brunt of that rain delay a couple of days ago in Minnesota, because he was the guy in the cage when the Sox kept thinking the game was going to restart. And okay, maybe we're going to go in the next half an hour. He must have gotten up and down 7 times to throw batting practice indoors during that 4-hour, 50-minute rain delay. So he's actually in a full bucket of ice right now watching the game.
That's the toughest part of that type of lengthy delay of any sort. You have a whole locker room full of guys trying to find something to do, and they never really mentioned when they thought the game would start. It was one of those things where we kept getting the occasional announcement, not too many, and it did start at 5 o'clock. 12-10 game.
Here's Barreto again. And his second play is as smooth as the first. 2 down for Abreu.
Barreto's a shortstop by trade, and he was one of the guys that came over in the Josh Donaldson deal. So originally with Toronto as a shortstop, but Marcus Semien is their guy at his first rehab start last night, coming back from a broken wrist. When he does get back, which will be in the not-too-distant future, he will play shortstop. And Barreto, if he's still here, is going to get a lot of work at second base. That's where they see him eventually.
But again, things can change.
You never know. I mean, injuries. And Marcus has a screw in his wrist from that surgery, and so you never really know how it's going to come back healed, and will he be able to swing the bat like he did last year? He hit 27 home runs last year.
Abreu muscles this out to center field, and a diving play by Brugman. Here's a beaut to retire the side. Looked like it might sink in. Instead, Brugman takes it away in a 1-2-3 inning for Daniel Gossett, thanks to his young center fielder. Hello to all of our viewers watching on South Benton Cablevision in South Benton, Iowa. Hi, South Benton.
Hello.
Do they like bacon on a stick?
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. Young man enjoying that. Cholesterol at 400.
I like the instructions too. I heard you can break it.
Sure you can.
Yeah, have it in 2 pieces or 3 pieces. So Barreto in his first at bat, and that's a ground ball foul off his foot. So 2 strikes on Barreto, and you look at the haul that Oakland got in that Donaldson deal. Kendall Graveman was also included in that trade that yielded Barreto, who's the top prospect in the A's farm system right now. Swing and a miss for strike 3, and Shields quickly dispatches the Oakland rookie. 1 down.
This is a swing hard in case you hit something at bat. Being his first at bat, he's thinking about taking it deep, but James, with that big slow curveball, had other ideas. That is strikeout number 3.
Just watching the old footage of Mark Buehrle during the pregame ceremony, and watching him introduce himself for his first start back in 2000, it is amazing how a long career will age that first ever start or at bat or whatever it might be. Barreto will watch that at some point down the line and say, either look how young I looked, or how jumpy I looked, or how uncomfortable I looked, or whatever it might be. It's neat to watch it happen in real time and have the person not know what it's going to look like in the future. That ball is slugged to right field by Brugman and deep. Avi is back at the warning track and has no play.
That's homer number 1 for Brugman. That's the first of his career. He's now driven in 6. And the ball is absolutely flying out of the ballpark today. If you throw fly balls, you've got some problems. Our Ford home run replay. Brugman, who made a great catch to end that first inning, now joins the long ball parade provided by the Oaklands. Every run scored in this game and a quarter has been courtesy of the home run.
So 2 firsts in 2 innings here today.
and trying to find the baseball to give him a souvenir that he will keep for life.
This looks like a job for the authenticator.
He's just waiting to be presented the baseball. Here you go. Is that the ball? Oh, certainly.
This is not the most upbeat authentication we've had. That ball's clobbered to left field. Rosales, Maine South's own, is on his way to second base with a one-out double.
He's always done a pretty good job against a team that represents his hometown. Yolmer Sanchez with a word for Rosales. That's a fastball that James wanted to get inside. Didn't get it there.
That one sounded like better contact than the home run.
Fortunately, he got over the top with a sinking line drive because that ball was hit hard.
Joyce takes a massive rip and strike number one. Well, this Oakland team entered the series fifth best in Major League Baseball with 143 doubles. They either had homers or singles yesterday for the 5 hits, but first double of the series comes from the 9 spot today. Breaking ball just missed. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Oakland brought in Matt Joyce, signed him to a 2-year contract, so he's going to be around for a bit. They thought he could provide the long ball from the left side. They got a lot of right-hand power hitters on this team.
Matt Joyce, who's been around through Tampa, Detroit, Pittsburgh, the Angels. Put together now a 10-year Major League career.
And he said when he was just a little guy that he wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, and he added he wanted to play for the Oakland A's. So both dreams accomplished.
Popped it up. Abreu and Sanchez, and it's Jose. We're out number 2.
Little conversation. Yolmer is saying, look, you came all the way from first base. That was right at me. Jose probably telling him in Spanish, let the sure hands take it, pal. Jose is really good on pop-ups. He
Manos
can get them.
Seguros?
Yeah. Or not necessarily Manos de Piedras. And Yolmer apparently, along with Jose, now they know where he's supposed to cover.
There's an actual literal line in the sand.
Yes, there is, and there it is. You stay on this side, I'll stay on that side. And in the meantime, Olson is going to be put on first base via the intentional walk.
It's like the old sitcom where you'd have the 2 sisters and they'd be sharing a room and they'd draw the tape down the middle of the room, and one would have the bathroom and one would have the beds. This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Well, now Jose's got to go to his right, probably over the line because Yolmer's playing up the middle.
Up the middle it goes, and that is into center field. So Healy drives in Rosales, and Oakland adds to the lead. It's 4-0.
Last thing in the world that Don Cooper and Rick Renteria want to do is go to that bullpen early. Healy takes a curveball and takes it through the left side. So an ominous beginning to this one for James Shields. That's RBI number 45 for Healy.
So 2 on, 2 out for Davis. here comes Kevin Smith.
And here comes Don Cooper. Everybody now coming in.
Now DeWalt, the official tools of the Chicago White Sox. DeWalt, guaranteed tough, offering total job site solutions.
This is not really all that unusual. After a 2-month disabled list stint, James was strong and healthy and ready to go, and he had a really fine performance against Toronto. Good hitting team in their ballpark. But the second time out, many times the arm strength is not going to be there. He did miss a couple of months, and so I think he's experiencing that today more than anything else.
Why is that? Why on start number 2?
Well, because you are, number one, you got a lot of adrenaline in the first start, and also your arm is pretty fresh at that point. But now you're asked to come back on the 5th day, and the arm, for a guy really essentially going through a spring training all over again, that arm isn't as strong as it's going to be when he gets 3-4 starts.
Breaking ball for a strike. By the way, coming up in the home half of the inning, Mark Burley will join us. Not surprisingly, he's here early.
And he'll probably do it quickly.
We have just over 40 seconds allotted for all 3 outs in the inning. What a beautiful ceremony. Kids were involved, and I love that Mark said, hey, to his wife Jamie and Braden and Brooklyn, come over here. You've been with me this whole time. You're going to be here while I'm talking to these folks. As there's strike 3, and Davis has been punched out looking twice now. 2000th career strikeout for James Shields. He is the 10th active pitcher to do so. Couple runs for Oakland, but this is his day. Mark Burley will join us in the booth after this. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you very much.
On the field, what was that like?
I psyched myself out a lot more than I probably should have. I was so nervous coming into today. I'm not a public speaker. I don't like talking in front of people, but once I got out there and started talking, I was actually a lot more calm than I thought I was going to be. But I mean, this is an honor that I can't even, words don't even express the feelings I'm having. It's unbelievable. You don't think this is going to happen to somebody, so it's awesome.
Mark, it was really nice to see your parents down on the field, and I had a lot of interaction with your father over the years. Number one, I'm struck by how big he is, and number two, what was it like when you got drafted in the 38th round by the White Sox, your interaction with your father and mother? I know they obviously were very pleased.
Well, I think the biggest thing was when I was in high school and I got cut my first 2 years. They're the ones that pretty much said, hey, we didn't raise a quitter. We want you to go back out and try out for your junior year. And I was like, I didn't make the freshman and sophomore team. I'm not going to make the varsity team. That's the hardest one to make. And I'm going back out, and obviously, here we are today. So, yeah, I mean, they ran me to practices, and we were all over the place. I lived and died baseball. So, yeah, obviously thankful for them. And now my wife and kids, I mean, they've been by my side since we got married, and kids were born, and they've been there every step of the way. So it's awesome. I mean, I got fans, friends and fans everywhere all over this place, and it's amazing.
You've almost said, why me, through this whole process? Why retire my number? What's your answer to that?
I just don't get it. Like I said, my number's next to Frank Thomas. I watched him as a kid growing up, and here he's out here talking on my behalf during my ceremony. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's hard to wrap my hands around everything and soak it in. I was just here, had fun playing baseball, and next thing you know, I'm standing out there and retire my number. It doesn't make sense.
So we read your piece in the Players Tribune yesterday. Which of your maintenance guys was your favorite?
There's a bunch of them down there. Steve's the main one. But literally, every time I'd walk out there, I'd bang on the door. Got those big garage doors, and you can barely tap it, and it rattles crazy. But I would, on the way in and out, I'd just bang on it and walk through. Next thing you know, he'd come out, you son of a gun, what are you doing, hitting on the door? And then it'd be a day I pitch, man, you suck today, you pitch better. We just had that interaction, and I would wear him out every time that I would come in. I'd say, oh, you're finally doing some work, or why don't you get to work? I just had that interaction with those guys.
Where does your personality come from?
I guess mom and dad. I don't know. I mean, I've always liked to have fun, just laid back, and like I said, every time I was on the field, on the mound, in the dugout with the guys, I'm happy to be here. I know there's a ton of people that want to be in my shoes, and I'm gonna go out there and just have as much fun as I can while it lasts. Because you never know. I mean, career could end. You could get sent down. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can happen any day of the week. So I don't know. I just try to have fun.
What does it mean to have your kids here to be able to see this?
It's awesome. They didn't realize and they don't remember much of it, and I had a hard time realizing that they were probably, Braden was 4 or 5 when we left, and Brooklyn was 2 or 3. We come back here, and I'm like, you guys remember this? You remember that? And they're like, no. What the heck? What's going on? I'm like, you guys don't remember this stuff? But when they were so young. But yeah, just yesterday at the press conference, we had them in there, just so they can kind of see it. They're a little older now, and hopefully they can soak it in and realize it.
What does Chicago mean to you?
It means everything. Like I said, I've spent a third of my career here. It's funny, I was driving up here the other day, and as soon as we got in the Chicago range, or the zone, I turned on 99.5 country, because that's all I listened to when I was here. So it's like, as soon as I got up here, turned my iPod off, and next thing you know, I click on the radio, and it just went right to the radio station.
We just had one of your innings here. It's a 1-2-3 inning. It took like 5 minutes.
That's perfect.
Look at that first pitch. How about the form?
Outstanding. I'm working with her, but she's doing pretty good.
Mark, congratulations. So great to see you. Enjoy the day.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys.
Sox great Mark Burley. Nobody will ever wear 56 again. Sox are trailing 4-0, and it was great to be joined by Mark Buehrle, who I think we should and can call now a Chicago treasure.
There's no doubt. He was very popular with front office people, very popular with broadcasters, very popular with his teammates, certainly, and has a fond remembrances of everything Chicago.
I mean, we were talking to him about the maintenance guys that he used to mess around with. He remembers names. Steve the maintenance guy. I mean, he has been so many places and surrounded by so many great, wonderful things in his career. He is truly one of those guys who just thinks about everybody around him. And there is a strike. So 3-1 on Yonder Alonso as the Sox very fittingly, while we had Buehrle in the booth, but 1-2-3 extremely quickly.
He certainly appreciates innings like that. He had enough of them himself. And every year as a White Sox starter, over 200 innings, over 30 starts, and 10+ wins. Pretty impressive.
I mean, 14 straight years of 200 and more innings.
And I talked to his father a lot when Mark was on the ball club, and his dad used to come up to the various cities we would go to. And I asked him, when he was drafted in the 38th round, what was it like for you? What did you expect that he would get out of his career? And he said, boy, I was hoping for a long reliever, just a spot in the bullpen. He said, that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be a career where he was in the bullpen, maybe getting an occasional start. But he was convinced that his lot was to be a pensman. Of course, as we know, it was a whole lot better and longer than what his dad originally thought.
In the air to left field, Melky is back on it, and he makes the catch. So when we have guests in the booth, we have this extra chair that sits here, and there you see Mark Buehrle's chair. When he got up from this chair, as we finished the interview and went to break, he started to walk toward the stairs in our booth. It's a 2-tiered booth, and he said, oh, you know what? Do I need to bring that chair back up with me? I mean, there are people who help our broadcast who typically do that and grab the chair and move it out of the way. We've never had a guest ask, oh, can I help with the staging here? Can I move this chair around for you? I mean, that's the type of guy Mark Buehrle is. And okay, you know, it's a guy asking if he can move a chair, but typically guys who have retired jerseys aren't asking if they can move chairs around for you.
No, I pretty much wanted to give him my bag and ask him if he would take it to the car for me, but he's got some other obligations. He has his whole family here. His folks are here. A lot of friends came. A lot of teammates came to support him, so it'll be a very busy day for Mark Buehrle, and one that he will always remember.
Maybe we give away Buehrle's chair.
Put it on the prize shelf.
Put it on the prize shelf. We might break the shelf. Here's Barreto, who takes a ball in the dirt. He struck out on 3 pitches in his first major league at bat back in the 2nd inning.
They're the remaining 2, Barreto and Kendall Graveman, from that deal that sent Josh Donaldson to Toronto. Graveman, on the disabled list, is a very good young pitcher, but he's had some shoulder issues, and it's cause for concern.
Kendall Graveman had an outstanding performance in this ballpark last year through a complete game, and it was as rapid fire as any complete game as you'll see in this current era.
I really like his stuff because he's a sinker baller, and he'll keep the ball in the ballpark.
Ball and a strike on Barreto. Mentioned the trade that brought him over to Oakland. Our old friend Brett Laurie was involved in that trade as well. Oakland has 3 runs on homers in this game and an RBI single as well from Ryan Healy. Maxwell at first, one down after the Alonso fly ball. And Barreto certainly getting his money's worth here in his first major league game. Two and two from Shields. High in the air, left field. Melky going back. He looks up, and that ball is gone. The third Oakland A with his first career home run in this game.
That's pretty amazing. And Barreto, who struck out his first time up, doesn't waste a whole lot of time before hitting his first major league home run. It's a big hug from Adam Rosales. And the young man who was a late insertion into this lineup got one out over the plate, a towering fly ball. The wind helped do the rest, although he did hit it pretty hard. He thought it was gone when it left the bat.
There's ball number one to Brugman, and the celebration continues in the A's dugout with three separate first career home runs in this game, and we are in the third inning. Here's the good news. Okay, here's the good news. There's nobody else in the lineup who doesn't have a home run in his career. Abreu scrambles over and makes a nice play to get out number two. If he doesn't pick that cleanly on the hop, Brugman's safe. Instead, it's out number two.
Jose's done that a few times, and first basemen are taught if you can make the play yourself, don't risk a throw. He comes over and then slides into the bag. I think they're ahead of Brugman.
See, that's one of those circumstances where it seems like the slide actually is the safer play for fear of a possible collision with the runner. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't mind the feet first slide at first base by the defender. Not particularly enamored with it for the man running down there, but the defender, it's fine. As Michael Inoa starts to get loose, it's not been James's day to this point.
Remember that play with Dustin Pedroia when the Red Sox were in town, that he went head over heels with Abreu.
And Abreu came up looking like he might have been hurt. And what we didn't know was Pedroia would jam his wrist.
Called strike on Rosales, who doubled and scored in the second inning. Boston team fighting with the Yankees for the top spot in the AL East. We'll see the Yankees coming up this week, Monday through Thursday, here at Guaranteed Rate Field. Leftover hats from Country Music Night. And Irish Night. That's Country Music Night and Hawaiian Shirt Day. The new Hawaiian shirt, by the way, is coming.
It's very good looking. You need a few of those today. Bright sunshine, just a few clouds, just a gorgeous day, however.
Lines outside started well before the game. I mean, a long time before first pitch. For the Burley retirement ceremony. Great crowd to see one one of the best Sox players of this generation, get his jersey retired. Check swing, ball in the dirt. He did go, and that will do it. Shields gets a strikeout. Barreto gets his first home run. 6-0 A's after 2.5.
Miller Lite.
The 2017 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate, home of low mortgage rates and the world's best digital mortgage. Get started now at rate.com. Well, there was a game when Mark Buehrle gave up, was it 7 runs in the first inning? Sox came back and won 9-7. So there's time in this game on Buehrle Day to make a comeback out of this thing.
And Gossett, in his 3rd major league start, thrown it pretty well. 6 up, 6 down through the first 2. The boys haven't seen him at all except on video, and you can't really tell how a fastball moves or how sharply that curve breaks when you're watching it on the video. They all look at his 2 previous games to see what he throws. At least so far today, he's getting the curveball over the plate.
2 flyouts, 3 groundouts, a strikeout so far for Daniel Gossett out of lovely Spartanburg, South Carolina. He'll face Tim Anderson. And there is strike 1. Tim was ejected in yesterday's game after arguing fair or foul on a ground ball that he cued right in front of home plate. Jim Wolf, the plate umpire, made the right call. Tim took exception with the fair ball call, and as he was walking back to the dugout said something to the plate umpire, which Jim Wolf didn't agree with, and ejected Tim. And then subsequently Ricky Renneria, who came out of the dugout to argue. Barreto for out number 1.
Show your team pride with the White Sox checking, an official White Sox MasterCard debit card, only available through local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC.
Lovely day to celebrate Mark Buehrle here at the ballpark. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you, our entire crew, as the Sox try to get that first base runner of the game. 7 batters deep, now 8. And Smith, the first pitch, swinging strike. Well, Buehrle got himself a couple new vehicles from the White Sox as gifts, and one of them was named 27 up, 27 down. That is still in play for Gossett, who's got 8 in a row to start the game.
Well, welcome to Barreto at second base, because we're not through the 3rd. He's already had 4 ground balls. So Gossett is keeping the ball down. It's moving. And after all of the nerves and everything that went into his first performance, he came back last time out throwing real well, and he's picking up here where he left off last start because he's thrown it very well and he's getting the curveball over the plate.
In the era of people rebooting sitcoms and TV shows as feature-length movies, Welcome to Barretto sounds like a knockoff of a new feature film that's coming out.
Yeah, he's got a couple steps on quickness, I believe.
From the original?
From the original, yes.
Ball and a strike on Sanchez. Yolmer, who's been aggressive on the base path the last couple days, was thrown out at second on a close play yesterday and stole his first base in about 3.5 weeks at the end of that Minnesota series.
Fans enjoying this one. Just a gorgeous day. Pretty windy here at the ballpark.
Barretto's getting a workout, and he can't handle it.
So along with his first home run is going to come his first major league error. First man to reach base. Probably the easiest of all the plays, but it did take an unusual hop as it got to him and just ate him up. He doesn't even get a glove on it. That one hit him in the wrist.
So maybe, just maybe, and we've talked about it before, usually the first base runner spawns the second one fairly soon after.
Also the advantage the second time through the order. And now they have a pretty good idea about what the young man throws.
Oakland, by far the major league leader in errors.
And Milwaukee having a good year despite the fact they haven't fielded the ball well.
That one locked Hansen up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's a straight change. He hasn't seen too many of those, and Gossett hasn't thrown too many over the course of his first couple of starts. But that was a good one.
Sanchez at first, 2 down. Outside on a breaking ball, 2-1. Alan Hansen claimed off waivers from the Pirates. He's at bat number 22 of his White Sox career. Foul ball, third base side. Healy has not enough room. And a rude meeting with the restraining wall.
He's going to feel that one for a bit. Healy's not their normal third baseman. That belongs to Matt Chapman, who is going to come back. He played in the 4-game sweep of the Yankees, going 4-0 in his only 4 starts, and then got an infection in his knee, which disabled him. And Healy's going to feel banging into the rail for a bit.
There are better ways to spend your Saturday afternoon than running into the rail.
No doubt.
There is a base hit. Hansen breaks up the no-hitter. Sanchez skates to third.
This one into right field, and Yolmer running on Olsen, who is a very good first baseman. That's his natural position. But to get his bat in the lineup, he's playing right field. They're also going to run every chance they get on Chris Davis in left because he can't throw at all. So it's gentlemen, start your engines if they have a play where the ball winds up in left field.
Now Melky trying to cut into this deficit. Off speed for strike 1. Melky 1 for 5 in the series. There is the possible first and second run combination for the Sox today. Melky Cabrera, who was a Mark Burley teammate at the end of Mark's career when he was in Toronto.
Had the same opinion that everybody else did who has ever played with him. One of their favorite teammates ever.
On the ground right side, Barreto can't get there, and the Sox are on the board. Hanson to third, 6-1.
41st driven in by Melky at Oakland, giving the Sox at least 4 outs this inning as that lead shrink to 5.
Melky almost hit Yolmer's line in the sand between first and second. So runners at the corners, 2 down. Abreu the batter, and his RBI numbers recently have been lofty, 12 in his last 9 games, and a chance here to change the way this scoreboard looks.
A lot of young pitchers have a hard time shutting the door after a mistake.
Even though in the minors they faced situation after situation like that, you're saying it's different when you get to the big leagues.
Well, it's different because you've got guys who are very good hitters coming up over and over again. The minor leagues, in your lineup, maybe you get 2 or 3 pretty good hitters. Major leagues, a lot more than that as you go through the order.
Cue shot, back to the mound. Gossett cleans it up and throws out Abreu. Sox do get 1 and start down the comeback trail. Melky drives it in, 6-1 after 3. What are you holding there?
That is the Mark Burley pin for today. It's actually very good looking, and you, if you're not at the ballpark today, and you're not if you're watching this, you can get one of these pins. All you got to do is get the right answer in Sox math, and then you get whatever we'll give you off that one. But if you want the pin, well, we got a couple of those.
We got pins for you.
Yeah.
We got pins and cubes and drinking glasses and golf balls for you today. Remember, it's weekend Sox math, so it's a little bit easier than your typical Sox math if you're playing at home. There's a trend that the Sox need to break this half inning, wouldn't you say?
The 2 in every inning, yes.
Oakland got a 2-run homer from Olson in the first, a solo shot from Brugman in the second, along with an RBI single from Healy, and then the 2-run homer from Barreto in the third. 75 pitches deep, now 76 for James Shields.
And with that in mind, the bullpen up and going.
You mentioned coming off the DL, as I know it gets loose. Coming off the DL for your second start, can you get that arm strength back within the start?
Usually not. It's either there or it's not. And this is a completely different James Shields than we saw the first time out.
Over second into right center field, base hit for Joyce. Here is your Sox Math question for today. Hashtag Sox Math on Twitter. First correct answer wins the prize off the prize shelf. Number of players selected ahead of Mark Buehrle in the draft in '98. Add the number of base runners Tampa Bay had against Buehrle on July 23rd, 2009. And there's your answer. Hashtag Sox Math on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize off the prize shelf, and maybe even Mark Buehrle's chair that he sat in during our interview. Oh, I'm told we need that chair for prospective other guests in the future. Huh. All these rules.
Nice block by Kevin Smith. He stopped that one from going to the screen. It stopped Joyce from advancing to second.
So Olson, with the homer and the plunking so far, has reached base twice. There's a breaking ball strike from James Shields.
Odds are, if Oakland goes with what they've been doing for any number of years, they will let Alonso go or try to trade him. And when that happens, they got a couple of candidates for first base. One of them is Olson, who's a first baseman by trade. Healy is another one of those guys that can play some first base on DH, but forced into action at third base.
Very storied franchise. 3 straight World Series back in the 70s.
5 straight division titles.
Smoke foul right side. 2-2. Some great mustaches in the history of the organization, thanks to Charlie Finley.
And some very successful teams. They had enough offense, certainly, but they did it on pitching and defense. That was the trademark of those mid-70s Oakland team.
It's off the plate, so 3-2 on Olson.
James has had some big problems throwing that backdoor cutter and getting strikes over the outside corner.
Touched foul by Olson back toward Healy in the on-deck circle. Well, the Sox come in 7 back of Cleveland in the division. The Indians lost yesterday, and Alberto Mejia was very good for Minnesota on the mound. He beat Trevor Bauer. And Kansas City, by the way, is hard charging. A comeback win against the Blue Jays yesterday, and leading 2-1 at the end of 5 today against Toronto, as that's ball 4 and maybe the end of the line for James Shields.
I think that's it. Yeah, I think you got to get him. He just doesn't have it today, and rather than let him go out there and struggle mightily with 85 pitches in 3+ innings, Ricky Renteria is going to go to the pen. Michael Eno is going to come into game, and James will depart. So as he walks off, so will we. We'll be back. 2005 White Sox, a CSN original production. Then stay tuned for the inside look. Mark Buehrle as he talks about his favorite moments in a Chicago uniform. Our Hyundai call to the pen is Michael Inoa. He's got to put an end to this rally and hold him right there. On for the 19th time, his ERA at 370, a 1-0 record. Few too many walks per innings pitched, but thrown pretty well out of the pen. He inherits a couple of base runners at first and second. Nobody out here in the 4th inning, and the heart of the order coming up.
Ryan Healy is first. The 17 home run man. He's got 8 homers this month. Top of the 4th, Oakland has 2 runs in each of the first 3 innings in this game. And ball number 1 from Inoa. Oakland at points has been offensively challenged, but put up 10 runs back on June the 4th and lost 11-10 to the Nationals. That ball's hit well center field. Hansen on the warning track. Joyce from second to third. Throw to second behind. Hans Olsen 2 down.
A very good throw to second base and a very bad piece of base running by Matt Olson. He doesn't have particularly good speed. That throw turned out to be right on the money. Allen does it well. He's got no chance at third base, but a very good chance at second. This ball beats Olsen by plenty.
Allen says thank you very much, and we move along. So Chris Davis with a runner at third and 2 out is a lot more palatable than 2 on and 1 out.
I don't think he wants to leave this particular at bat in the hands of DJ Rayburn, who's called him out twice on strikes, so he's going to be swinging.
If there's something nearby.
We got a powerful left-hand hitter in the on-deck circle, so not too much of a break. Davis has 19. Alonso has 17.
If you looked at the start of the game and you figured, well, I wonder who might have a big day for Oakland, you would have thought maybe Chris Davis. He was 3 for 3 career with a double and a homer against James Shields, but Shields handled him very well with the 2 strikeouts looking.
But the 3 first home runs in the major leagues went a long way into the early departure of James Shields.
Right field, Avi Garcia. Underneath for out number 3. So the A's help the Sox out a little bit. Alan Hansen does the trick with his arm in center, and it's 6-1 Oakland. 705 had it. Mark Burley was the 1139th selection of 1998, so 1138 there plus 0 base runners. That was a perfect game against Tampa Bay for Burley on July 23rd, 2009. So congratulations to White Sox 061705 for the Burley knowledge, and you win a prize off the prize shelf. Loads of people here to celebrate Mark Burley. Fans upon fans here at the ballpark. So Avi Garcia will lead it off here in the 4th, then Frazier and Davidson. And there is strike 1 to Avi Garcia. Chris Kamka, our faithful stat guru in a number of ways, put out a 56 reasons White Sox fans love Mark Burley today over on the CSN Chicago website. And among the factoids are that Mark Burley was the starting pitcher for Don Cooper's only managerial win with the White Sox. Maybe that's where the affection comes from, in small part, for Don Cooper to Burley. But what a friendship they've had.
And Don Cooper was eloquent in his speech before the game.
Strike 3 on Avi, so Gossett with his second strikeout. And one away. Join us at Guaranteed Rate Field as the White Sox take on the Texas Rangers Saturday, July 1st. First 20,000 fans get a White Sox Hawaiian shirt presented by Beggar's Pizza. Visit whitesox.com to purchase your tickets today.
The key with Gossett is if he's getting the curveball over the plate and staying ahead, then you've got some problems, because the curveball's a good one. But if he doesn't get ahead, he doesn't use it all that much.
One and 0 on Frazier, who he struck out in the second. Off the plate, 2-0. Sox got their lone run in the third. 2 out, nobody on. Sanchez reached on an error. Hansen singled. Melky singled. And that was the anatomy of the run so far today. There's a strike. Lemon chill day is always a good day. Maybe a little more, bigger spoonful.
Yeah, she needs to probably wait just a touch till it starts to melt. But having a good time nonetheless.
You know how people commit early to football programs or basketball programs. She's an early archaeology commit.
She's enjoying it.
Three and 2 to Frazier. Fouls it away, third base side. Matt Davidson is next, then Anderson. Matt 2 for 5 so far in the series. Couple of hits yesterday in the shutout loss. And there's ball 4. So Frazier draws the first Sox walk of the day. And today being Mark Burley Day, we thought we'd show you exactly where in White Sox history he sits. Starts, strikeouts, 4th, wins, 6th, innings, 7th. And that's almost surprising considering just how durable he was. And then 8th in games. But 9 opening day starts from Mark Burley.
Well, there are a lot of those Sox pitchers that worked a lot more innings, had a lot more starts because they worked on a 4-man rotation. And Mark was in a 5-man rotation his entire career. So now with the example of durability is 200 innings. In years past, it was anywhere from 250 to 300 innings. So it's much less innings in the Mark Burley era as a Sox player.
On the ground, foul ball.
He got out in front of a curveball, just missed taking it down the line for a two-base hit. See Healy well off the line, that one down the line, but unfortunately the wrong side of the line.
California native Matt Davidson basking in the sunlight here in Chicago, and he takes high. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
We're going to see this Oakland team in Oakland for a 3-game series, and in that series we're probably going to see Chapman at third, and a chance to see Marcus Semien, assuming that that wrist doesn't give him any problems in his rehab. He'll be playing short.
Rosales and short, can't handle it. Into center field it goes. And the Oakland defense, which leads the league in errors, wobbles again.
Rosales was thinking about 2 before he caught the ball. So that's a tailor-made double play and out of the inning. Instead, it's first and third, only 1 out with a chance to narrow the lead. He's thinking about running to second base, and can he get the throw off to make the double play? But you got to catch it first. Rosales comes up, the ball stays down. Second error for these Oaklands.
Talk about defense up the middle being so important. Each middle infielder has made an error so far. And now Tim Anderson, who turned 24 yesterday, takes ball 1. Sox looked like they might put together a comeback last night with 2 on, nobody out in the 9th against Santiago Casilla, and rumblings of a rally here early in the 4th.
Last inning, Barreto was charged with an error. Had he fielded, it would have been a very easy third. Instead, 3 more hitters and a lot more pitches for Gossett. And every one of these pitches he's thrown to Anderson is a pitch he wouldn't have made but for a defensive miscue.
You can lose multiple innings in a start off that.
There's a young man, first major league home run today.
Two one. Tim in the air, left center field. Brugman is over, and he makes the catch. Frazier tags from third. He scores, and it's 6-2.
RBI number 21 by Tim Anderson, who hit it pretty well, only to see Brugman, who's played a good center field, run under it. This is going to be yet another unearned run.
And anything that comes across for the remainder of the inning will go in that category as well. Kevin Smith, who bounced out to second his first time. Sox are just chiseling away here, down 6-0, but a run in the 3rd and a run in the 4th.
And a very vulnerable bullpen if you can get into it early enough.
Michael Inoa out of the bullpen.
Did a great job of getting out of that 4th inning without giving him any more.
Ball and a strike. One hopper all the way to the backstop, and Davidson up to second base.
First wild pitch for Gossett this year, and that was A very wild pitch. No chance at all for Maxwell. Tries to backhand it.
Well, he's had 3 teammates with their first career Major League home run. He's got his first career Major League wild pitch.
Probably be another 1 or 2 before it's over for him.
Burley threw what, 27 in his career? Something like that?
I don't know.
It was a low number. I think it's 27. "16 years, 27 wild pitches." As there is strike 3. Smith fans to end the 4th. Wild pitches, no hitter. Wild pitches, no hitter. He'll take the no hitter. This is the first. April 18th, 2007. Burley celebrates. The Sox do as well. Today is his. ChicaGo.com, presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday shop. The Great Escape. Sox are on the comeback trail, down 6-2 now after a run in the 3rd and a run in the 4th. And Michael Enoa tries to keep Oakland down here in the 5th. And he'll start with Yonder Alonso. There is strike 1. You mentioned the players from Miami who he's with in the offseason. He trained with Alex Rodriguez for a while down in Miami.
Manny Machado was down there, so he had a bunch of guys that he trained with and talked hitting with, and he had changed his style. He came roaring out of the gate this year, but lately he's had some problems as they've really started to keep most everything away and change the speeds, and when the pitchers go inside, they go well inside off the plate.
He walked in the 1st, flied out in the 3rd. It was against James Shields. First base, Abreu. And there is out number 1. Last inning, you may recall, there was a foul ball down the line, and the question is who's going to get the foul ball after it's retrieved. Well, this is playground justice here. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You win. How about that?
But then he offers to give him the souvenir, or at least show it to him. Here, I got it.
When you win rock, paper, scissors, you don't give up what you won very easily, I wouldn't say.
probably true.
Rock, paper, scissors for the burger they just brought up to the booth?
No, that's that double patty with onions and mushrooms and everything else on it is all yours.
It is from the Craft Cave. It is the Wild Pitch Burger, Bob Rosenberg special. Swiss cheese, grilled mushrooms, and onions. It's the 28th wild pitch on Burley Day. He had the 27 in his. We didn't plan that, by the way. 27 in his career. Yeah, the burger up here in the booth.
If you can't get to this burger, the Bertucci boys will certainly make you a quality burger. You have to go in the right field area. Saw Bobby yesterday. I think he's lost his step to either side with that knee brace. But they have great food, chicken, hamburgers. That's one of the great things about this park. Great food just about everywhere you look.
Two and two. Line drive into left. Maxwell has his second hit.
In order to clear the way for Maxwell to get more play, because they believe that he is their catcher of the future, they designated for assignment Stephen Vogt. Vogt's a two-time All-Star. The catching was not what he did best. He handled pitchers well, but the actual physical catching, we're talking about Vogt, wasn't as good as Oakland would like. They believe that the young man you're looking at is going to be behind the plate for a while. He's got a nice swing.
Saw a nice swing from Barreto, at least for the Oakland folks, in the third inning. Wasn't so nice for us here in Soxville.
We told you the wind was howling out toward left center field. This normally would have not been out of the ballpark, but it got up in that wind and just kept on going.
Barreto just up from AAA Nashville with the injury to Pinder yesterday.
Nice stop by Kevin Smith.
Lovely Nashville, where Don Cooper makes his home.
Don loves it down there. I've talked to him about that many times. He said it's just great.
One and two on Barreto. Top prospect for the Oakland Athletics, according to Baseball America. Number 2 is A.J. Puck, the pitcher they got out of Florida last year. It's become a pitcher factory with some of the guys they have this season, Singer and Faedo. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We were telling you about this burger. And here it is, in case you want one. The Wild Pitch Burger. Mushrooms, onions, Swiss cheese. Alarmingly good.
No, it looks delicious, though.
I think there's a javelin in it.
Good luck with that.
Thank you. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Barreto. And he cues it foul. Sox and A's will play one more tomorrow, and the hope for the Sox is that'll be the rubber match, though a comeback would need to happen here for that. It's Sonny Gray versus Derek Holland. We'll be on WGN for that before the Yankees come into town for 4.
There'll be a lot of scouts watching just about each and every game, but specifically they're going to be watching Sonny Gray. Barreto was going to run to first base. We've seen that happen. But it's a full count now, not the pitch before.
Well, we saw the play where Matt Davidson thought it was ball 4, and then Frazier took off.
Yep.
And ended up at second base. Three and 2 on Barreto. Maxwell at first, and he does not run. Barreto lines it to left. It's a lively bat.
And the only question would be the position he's going to play. And That position looks like it's going to be second base, even though he's a shortstop by trade. He got a fastball in the inner portion. He did a nice job of bringing his hands in to get the good part of the bat on the ball. Don Cooper has made the call to the pen, and we'll see who's going to get up starting to throw.
Yesterday we saw Beck, Jennings, Swarzak, and Holmberg. Imagine maybe Infante or Petrichka.
In this game, quite possibly.
Nothing more fun than figuring out who's going to get up in the bullpen next. Great parlor game to play at home.
Especially with only the 5th inning. There's going to be a lot of outs having to be covered once again by the pen.
One strike on Brugman.
There's Gregory as he starts to throw.
Two strikes on Brugman. Maxwell at second, Barreto at first. Up and out. Sox got a very nice start from Jose Quintana in that finale against Minnesota. He went 6 2/3. But prior to that, in that series, it was 2 2/3 and 3 1/3. The starters lasted against the Twins. That was very close, just missed. 2 2. But this rotation is still undergoing some changes. Carlos Rodon threw 91 pitches yesterday in a rehab start for AAA Charlotte, so you'd expect that he would be back sooner rather than later.
I think he certainly is hoping so.
So Inoa takes a moment to himself behind the number 56 on the mound. Mark Burley's jersey retired. We saw the ceremony right here on CSN. Coverage continues throughout the day of Mark Burley and his White Sox career. Way outside, ball 4. Bases loaded, one down for Oakland in the 5th. Superhero Night returns to the ballpark Thursday, June 29th. As Coop comes out, your Sox take on the Yankees 7:10 p.m. First 1,000 fans to purchase this specially priced ticket will have the chance to participate in early BP and get an exclusive Jose Abreu superhero bobblehead. Visit whitesox.com/super before these tickets are up, and away. Up in the sky.
So before DJ Rayburn can go to the mound to break it up, Don Cooper has had his say, allowing Gregory Infante probably 10 to 12 more pitches in the pen to get loose.
How about a ground ball? What do you think? Like a
Adam might be the original good man for 2.
cleanly, so everybody's safe. Maxwell is home. Barreto to third. Brugman to second. Rosales on at first. 7-2.
Second hit of the day. 22nd run driven in. And that's going to be it for Michael Inoa. He will give way to Gregory Infante. That one just skipping under the glove. Todd Frazier. Tim finally corrals it. But not before a run scores. So Inoa walking off. His afternoon is over. And as Infante comes in, we'll step out and be back after these messages. off with Orlando City. Coverage begins at 7 with Chicago Fire pregame live, and you can watch the game in Spanish on CSN Plus. We have a Hyundai call to the pen. That is Gregory Infante, who's had 11 scoreless appearances this year. Threw very well in 2 1/3 in Minneapolis. On for the 18th time. The ERA a touch over 5. There you look at the rest of the numbers, and he's got an Oakland A at every base and 1 already in.
And as we've celebrated Mark Buehrle today, we go into the Wayback Machine of White Sox history as well. Gregory Infante's wife is Freddie Garcia's sister.
Strong pitching family.
Indeed. And a long road back for Gregory Infante, who made his debut for the Sox 7 years ago and then was bouncing around the minors from 2011 to this year and finally came back with the team that he was originally up with after skipping AAA his first time up through the system.
That happens really more than you'd imagine. Sometimes you draft a player, you really like him, and then it's a numbers game. Maybe you have a surplus of the position that he happens to play. You wind up losing that player, but somewhere down the line, because you liked him at first, liked him enough to draft him and to bring him through your system, you get him back again.
2-0 on Joyce from Infante, and that is off the plate. So 3-0. Although it looked like the second pitch of the sequence was in the zone, he did not get the call. You roll the dice and swing away here?
I wouldn't know, but Bob Melvin might.
Not at that pitch. Ball 4, and 4 to the walk makes it 8-2 Oakland.
And one of the reasons why, when you ask that question, why I wouldn't have done it, if the scenario was different, if the pitcher had gotten a lot of pitches over the plate beforehand, if he had been in the game for the inning where he was loose, I would say, okay, let him go because this might be the best pitch you'll see. Just coming into the game, you want to make sure that the pitcher coming in can throw strikes, and we saw 4 straight bad ones. 30th run driven in by Joyce. It was the quiet way.
One 1-0 on Olson, so 5 in a row, and now Todd Frazier with a visit for Infante. Try to help him find the zone. Olson had the home run in the first. That's ball 2.
And here comes Don Cooper. Pretty easy to figure out what he's going to tell Gregory Infante, because he's missing outside and many times up and away. And that means you're just not staying closed. He's going to talk to him about that front shoulder. In the case of a right-hand pitcher, it's the left shoulder. And what pitchers will think about is showing their number to the hitter. If you try to show your number to the hitter as you come back on your delivery, that means you have to stay closed. Another trick that pitchers will use is trying to hit their chin with the left shoulder. You can't do it, but if you think about it and try, you're going to stay closed long enough where that ball won't slip high and away. That's one of the biggest factors for pitchers struggling with their control, is opening up too quickly. Same thing with a hitter. He opens up too quickly, no coverage on the outside part of the plate. Pitcher opens up, he can't get it into a left-hand hitter.
So on this delivery, what are we watching?
He's probably going to throw a fastball and probably try to hit the outer third.
Called strike.
He got the fastball in the zone. And Olson taking all the way, again with the philosophy, make him throw strikes. See if he can throw another 4 straight bad ones.
Fouled it away, so 2-2 on Olson as Infante's bounced back nicely from the first 6 out of the zone. Ryan Healy is on deck. Powerful third baseman for Oakland. outside, 3-2.
Gregory wanted it, but as we'll see, DJ Rayburn made the right call. This one, with late movement, actually takes it out of the zone. And Kevin does a nice job of getting it and trying to ease it back in the zone, but it was not to be.
There's a swing and a miss for strike 3 and 2 down.
Throws a belt-high fastball by him on the outside part.
Two out for Infante. He'll face Healy now. Already this year has 35 extra base hits, 18 doubles, 17 home runs. And he takes strike 1. Healy, another one of those guys, part of the launch angle revolution in Major League Baseball. Throw to second and safe the call.
Good play. Anytime you go after the trailer, in this case the middle runner, anytime you go behind the play, essentially you got a good shot. That also will be recorded on every one of the advanced scouts notes for the game, that the Sox will do that. That will shorten up some secondary leads. And they almost got him.
Fouled away, 2 strikes. Healy worked last year with Ed Sprague, the former Blue Jay third baseman, among others, on getting more loft on the baseball, and he has seen some positive results in terms of home runs with the 17 this year.
Well, being very strong and also the ability to hit it out anywhere in the field certainly helps him.
Fouled it away. Joyce at first, Rosales at second, Brugman at third. It's been 3 singles and 2 walks in the inning for Oakland so far. 0-2 from Infante off the plate. Two balls and 2 strikes. See, now that's one of those circumstances where, as we talk about the pace of play in baseball, Healy just walked out of the batter's box after a typical ball. If you look at the rules and how they could be enforced, that's not one of those situations where he's supposed to, and now he's done. Strike 3 for Infante. Mark Burley Day continues with one of the great plays that he ever made, and he still says he doesn't know how he did it. And now he's got the ball because a fan brought it to him today. How neat.
How about that for foreshadowing?
Yeah.
Way to go, Art Chuck.
Good tease, Chuck. 8-2 your score. Sox will have 9-1-2 coming up. Sanchez, Hansen, and Cabrera, 3 switch hitters against Daniel Gossett, who, after a brief blip in the run by Oakland of consecutive 2-run innings, grabbed 2 more in the top of this inning. So 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and 2 in the fifth for the A's so far today. Mentioned the Royals, one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. They are leading Toronto 3-2. Jackson chopper to third. Healy, tough play. One hopper, save.
Ryan Healy did everything he could on that play, but couldn't get it over there in time. This one cued off the end of the bat. And Healy has to cross over into foul territory. Alonso, who's an excellent defensive first baseman, makes the pick. And they're taking a look at it in the Oakland dugout. So it's play on, as he did beat the play.
Leadoff man on for the Sox for the first time this afternoon. And now Alan Hansen. Trying to build a rally for the Sox here in the 5th inning against young Daniel Gossett. There's ball number 1. You wouldn't imagine if Hansen were to bunt here, he would be bunting to sacrifice, considering the 8-2 score.
He's got good enough speed and bunting ability to bunt for a hit. I'm pretty much thinking he's going to swing the bat.
There's a strike called on the corner, 1-1. Alan Hansen, once a top prospect in the Pirates organization. Made his major league debut in 27 games last year for Pittsburgh. This is now a second organization after signing in 2010 and coming up through Pittsburgh's system.
Switch hitter with speeds who can play multiple positions is a desirable guy. And into a numbers game at Pittsburgh, Sox claimed him.
He lofts this ball to center field, and 2 on, nobody out here in the 5th.
That curveball didn't break late. It didn't do much of anything, and Hansen just swats it into center field.
Sox had just 2 hits in the game before this inning, and now 2 hits to start the 5th.
With the heart of the order coming up and a chance to eat away at that 6-run deficit.
Melky takes a strike. Single to right in the 3rd for Melky Cabrera. Scratched across the first run for the Sox today. Fastball away. Fastball low. Rookies all over this lineup for Oakland, including on the mound Daniel Gossett in his 3rd major league start.
I think it's pretty unusual, and probably the most unusual thing about the day today is that 3 guys in the same lineup hit their first major league home runs on the same day. I'm not sure you're going to see that too often. I find that a lot of youngsters will come up in September, but that's a while away yet.
Gossett with a strikeout of Melky. 4th strikeout for Gossett today, and 1 down.
This is a great breaking ball when you're ahead in the count, and Gossett has a good curve. Breaks late. It was a short breaking pitch, and he got Melky.
That's the type of ball, as it comes into the hitting zone, that looks like it's going to be a strike and then no longer is.
That's your best wipeout curveball is one out of the zone. That's why the only time you can really use it effectively is when you're ahead, because otherwise, the guy looks at it, he's going to take it, see what it does, and it is a pitch that will fall out.
Some people talk about it in terms of pitch tunneling, that when the ball crosses a certain point on the way to the plate, if it looks basically the same spin-wise, location-wise, that's when you've really done yourself proud in terms of location of a breaking ball. If it looks like a fastball in a certain spot and then forces essentially the hitter to swing at it, as this ball is hit to right by Abreu for out number 2. Sanchez is on to 3rd. Researchers say there's a point where hitters have to make a decision, and so if the ball looks like it's going to be in the zone, they're essentially parameters of their hitting zone.
Well, hitters, the ones with the real good ability to recognize the strike zone, they're going to take a look at that pitch. We've talked about this not very often, but a couple times. The curveball is the only pitch that comes out of your hand and actually goes up. And a good hitter is going to take a look at the spin of the ball. If it goes up leaving the pitcher's hand, he doesn't have to wait too long to realize it is a curveball. And if you can recognize the curveball because it goes up out of the pitcher's hand and you see it knee high, you know it's diving out of the zone. It's when you lay off. It's like a sinker baller. You see a knee high sinker, you don't swing because you know it's going to be calf high by the time it gets to the catcher.
You essentially have parameters for each pitch if you're a hitter, right? If you say if it's pitch X and it starts here, I'm not swinging.
Well, the key also for a hitter is just to decipher the spin, because each pitch has its own spin. Now, a good straight change will have the same spin as a 4-seam fastball. Will have a backwards rotation to it. And that makes it a good pitch because the hitter's eye identifies fastball, and then it's a changeup.
Avi pops it up. Barreto waving for it, and he collects out number 3. So 2 hits, but no harm done on the scoreboard. To the 6th we go, 8-2 Oakland. Fireworks show presented by Great Clips. The night features haircuts courtesy of Great Clips and mullet wigs for purchase to support Ronald McDonald House charities. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. Lovely day to be on the lake.
Tough score at this point. Good day to be on the lake.
Yeah.
Good day to be at the ballpark. I mean, huge crowd here today.
We could
celebrating Mark Burley Day.
Throw the score in the lake.
Well, it's close. Got a while to go yet, but not going to get any easier.
So here's Chris Davis, who you've talked before about your early days in baseball and just playing around the neighborhood and whatever it might be. The first time you've ever walked into a ballpark. Davis, in order to get himself ready for a major league career when he was very young, not that he knew he was going to be in the majors, his mother Sonia used to pitch beans to him and he would hit them with a broomstick.
Were they pre-cooked?
They were not, as far as the story goes, I believe.
They carry much better if they're raw beans.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Do you put the beans in a humidor?
No, that would deaden the beans. You want to make it very lively if you're going to use beans.
2-1. And that to shortstop. Anderson for out number 1. Time now for America's fastest growing sensation, where we quiz Steve about his own career. Which Oakland player struck out the most times against you in your Cy Young season of 1980? Henderson, Armas, or Page?
Well, Mitchell Page was a left-hand hitter. I don't think I got him the most. I would have to say Tony Armas. It's hard to strike Ricky out. I did get him a couple of times, I think. We'll go with Tony Armas.
Big prize on the line today.
Oh, huge prize.
Mark Burley's chair that he sat in earlier is still available. See the number 56 on the mound. Nicely placed in by Roger Bossard and his wonderful crew. As we celebrate the career of Mark Burley today, and his jersey number retired up there on the list with Carlton Fisk and Frank Thomas, among others. It's great to see Frank here today too. Before the game, he was part of the ceremony.
Frank was another guy that spoke exceptionally well. And having Mark Burley as a teammate, brought out the best in a whole lot of people who came to recognize his achievement, his accomplishments, and the retirement of number 56.
There they all are. Frank, in his remarks, said that the most uncomfortable at bat he ever had was against Mark Burley, and then he reminded Mark that he took him deep.
I think Mark probably knew that.
I think so.
Yeah, but Frank took a lot of people deep.
Alonso with enough loft to beat the shift and a 1-out single here in the 6th.
Even with the shift, he was able to get it over Yolmer's head, and he was way back there in right field.
Let's give you the answer to Sticks and Stone today. You said Tony Armas, and the answer is Tony Armas.
How about that?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you feel pride? Joy?
No, that wasn't kind of the highlight. Tony Armas was a good hitter, and his son also, I believe, played. And there was a situation, and Earl Weaver was one of the managers, and like today, the same scenario holds true with a lot of managers. They don't want to see their pitchers hitting anybody, certainly, and Earl didn't want to see any of the pitchers throwing at anybody. But we got in a situation where one of their starters had knocked down a few of our hitters. And so in order to put an end to that, their cleanup hitter was Tony Armas, and I was pitching and threw one a little closer than Tony would have liked. but didn't hit him with it.
On the ground left side, and it splits the difference between Frazier and Anderson. So Bruce Maxwell has his third single today.
But that really was how things were handled. And I didn't believe in hitting guys just to hit guys, but throwing close to let them know their pitcher probably shouldn't do that anymore was something that you usually did if they knocked down, in our case, our 3 and 4 hitters, maybe the best 2 switch hitters hitting 3 and 4, maybe in the history of the game. And that was Kenny Singleton and Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray wound up in the Hall of Fame with 504 home runs. But switch hitters at 3 and 4 are unusual. And their guy was Rick Langford, hit through a couple of our guys. And so you just returned the favor, and then it was it. It was like in the 4th inning, and it was completely over, and we just went around and played baseball the rest of the game, which is the object of doing something like that. But again, it never came on instructions from the manager. It was how the players kind of police themselves. And again, without you know, I didn't want to make it a career ender for anybody. So you don't throw to hit them. You just throw to remind their guy to quit throwing at your guys, and it worked in that instance.
How was your control when you wanted to do that? Was it better than normal or worse?
It's kind of interesting because the control was pretty good. What it did was, surprisingly, it gave you an adrenaline surge that you wouldn't have done anything else, because you never knew what happened. If a guy takes exception, he's going to charge the mound, and then I would have to run away, and it would be embarrassing. So rather than do that, I tried to convince a few that I was just a really friendly guy. I'd never throw at you. Are you kidding? You? I wouldn't throw at you. So yeah, you didn't want him to come out. That was the big thing.
But you felt, I mean, you
actually felt an adrenaline surge going up and in, because you never knew how it was going to be received. And you know, you think you can throw it inside without hitting somebody. You don't really know. In 1 year, I had a lot of accidental plunkings. I led the league in hit batsmen. You ever heard that group?
I was just about to say.
Accidental plunkings.
They have that flute solo in the middle of their hit.
And a big bass guitarist. I mean, big, huge bass guitarist.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Barreto. We should have them come play before a game. Accidental plunkings.
It would be really nice. I think they broke up, though.
In the air, into right. And Avi Garcia has it stalked. No need for a hard throw, with Alonso remaining at second. So 2 down for Brugman.
Brugman's a good, solid center fielder. And he, like 2 other of their very young hitters, have wound up with their first career home runs this afternoon.
Does somebody have like a carrying case or like a tote bag or something that they can take these baseballs with back?
Well, hopefully they were able to return 3 of them to the guys who hit them, because that's something that you keep with you forever. For me, it was my first hit, because I never hit a home run, and my first hit didn't come to my 2nd year. I don't know how they held me down at 0 for 34 my first year, but they were able to do that.
So who was it off of? You remember?
I believe Pat Jarvis, and it was a base hit up the middle. Not hit hard, was a 52 hopper, and he would have absolutely authenticated it.
You know, I'm disappointed on our superhero night discussion yesterday. You didn't say that your favorite superhero was the authenticator. Avi in right tracks it down to retire the side. Faster than a speeding bullet, Avi Garcia. 8-2 after 5.5. Report presented by Ozinga. And it is Yoan Moncada who went 3 for 5 against the Durham Bulls yesterday. Had a triple, a home run, drove in 2. His first home run in a week. I mean, he's had one basically every week the last 3 weeks. He has 9 for the season, 7 doubles, 3 triples. He's slugging .456.
And the only thing that's been able to stop him has not been pitchers. It's been a thumb injury that put him on the shelf for a while. He came back and wasn't swinging well. As hitters who have any hand, wrist, or finger problems, they're not going to swing it well. So now Yoan is entirely healthy, and he's tearing it up once again at AAA.
Charlotte is playing later on tonight, 5:35 our time, against the Durham Bulls. You ever seen the new ballpark in Durham?
Never been to Durham. I didn't see
the old place either?
No.
It's a nice place. They have a blue monster there. It's a tall left field wall, as you might expect. Into right field, Olsen back at the warning track. He can't make the play. Frazier's off to the races to second base with a leadoff double.
Olsen went back, timed it pretty well, but got very close to the wall. The ball ticked off his glove. And this is a first baseman by trade, and by all indications is a very good first baseman. Throws right field. This one not so much. This is a very tough play because the ball is slicing away from him. He knows he's going to hit the wall with about a step to spare. And when he does not have the baseball, so a promising way to lead off the 6th.
Number 11 for Frazier to go along with 12 home runs. And now Davidson. Well, the Sox first 8 batters all made an out in this game, but after that, I mean, it's not been for lack of opportunities. There's been at least 2 guys on in every inning after that second inning. Sox RBIs today for Melky Cabrera and Tim Anderson. And look at second. There was nobody to throw to, but Gossett wanted to make Frazier aware that he was thinking about it. Into the dugout and ringing around in the dugout a couple of times as though it wanted to make sure that it hit somebody. Adam Engel watched the ball bounce over his head, then it came back off the railing.
Came pretty close and might have hit Hansen. I think he was holding his side, so don't know if it was hit by the ball or something else.
Opposite way and foul from Davidson. Oh, Allen's smiling.
You get hit on the right side, just below the number.
Willie Garcia enjoying the festivities.
Sure, when someone else gets hit, it's uproariously funny.
Strike 3. And that is 1 down here in the 6th. Let's see that foul ball that had eyes into the dugout.
It got him.
Well, once he's smiling, you can laugh about it. That's the rule. One out and a foul ball from Anderson, who spent his time after the ejection yesterday with Ricky Renteria. They watched the game together.
You know, sometimes it gives you an interesting perspective, especially when you're sitting with a man that was a #1 draft pick, an infielder by trade, and understands exactly what Tim is going through as a young professional. We've talked many times about one of the real great things that Ricky Renteria is able to do is communicate exceptionally well with his younger players. He's absolutely the perfect man for this particular job. Daniel Coulomb starting to loosen up in the pen.
We can only hope that Ricky Renteria and or Tim Anderson are Nielsen families.
We can only hope that they're not sitting together in the dugout, or rather in the locker room, with too many games watching the duration of the game that's being played.
Yeah, it's nice once. After that, diminishing returns. Healy at third off the short hop. Anderson busting it down the line. He's safe on the high throw. And Todd Frazier into third.
It's E5. That's the third. And Healy had all kinds of time and took an inordinate amount of time. And then by the time he realized that Anderson can really run, he had to get rid of it quickly. Look at how many steps he takes before he throws it away. And we told you that Healy is not going to be their everyday third baseman. We're going to see Matt Chapman when we go to Oakland, most likely. That was a few steps too many for Ryan Healy, and then he airmails Alonso. Again, Oakland opens the door.
The only infielder for Oakland today not to make an error is first baseman Yonder Alonso.
Still have a long way to go in this one.
Opportunity knocking again for the Sox. This time Kevin Smith will try to drive in a run. He's on a 6-game hit streak right now, but 0 for 2 with a strikeout last time and a bounce out to second.
Eleven outs to go for Oakland to field for the error cycle.
Not something you want.
Not something you aspire to, no. An E by every one of the infielders. Fairly rare, however.
Launched foul by Smith, 0-2. Wonder how many times we'll find out, either during the game or after the game, how often it happens that 3 guys will have their first career home run in one game.
Yeah, I personally have never seen it. I'm sure it's happened a few times. I would think it would. Again, especially, it seemed like it could happen a lot more easily in September, where you have massive call-ups.
This is trouble. Rosales, Barreto, and 2. Sox are looking for some offense, and they got some from an unlikely source in lovely Milwaukee. 8 years ago. What a sweet swing that was. Mark Buehrle goes deep. June 14th of '09.
pen cam. Bring the fun home.
The guy in the green shirt, by the way, was Tommy Maloney, who is the young man who Mark Burley gave the ball to, got the ball from, I should say, signed the ball for on that defensive play we showed you earlier today.
And Jake Petrichka comes in the ball game out for the 7th time. The ERA at 5.40, 1-0 record. Hopefully, Jake will stay healthy enough. If he does, he's a huge factor out of the bullpen. And when he's right, he has one of the better sinkers around and throws ground balls consistently.
He replaces Gregory Infante, who went an inning and 2/3, allowed 2 hits, walked 1, and struck out 2. Petrichka last threw in that game 2 days ago in Minnesota. He went 1 inning. Gave up 2 hits, no runs. He struck out a pair. Oakland today with 3 players who've hit their first major league home run in the game today.
Absolutely amazing. We knew it was rare. We didn't know how rare it was.
Frazier at third. As no out. Abreu pulled off the bag. Jose's not arguing. Sam Holbrook made the call.
It's going to go E5. Holbrook said the foot came off the bag and didn't go back to the bag. Jose thinks the foot's on the bag. So now we'll have to see what they say in New York.
That is a really difficult one to tell.
And with the call being safe, it takes a little extra proof to be able to overturn the call.
Yeah, the standard is that the call on the field is accurate. You need definitive proof to overturn that call on the field. And in New York, they will take a look at all of their angles and see what happens. I don't see any space between foot and bag there, Steve. Do you?
No, and you don't see Jose argue very much. The fact that he stood there as long as he did would lead you to believe that he believes his foot was on the bag. That shot, that is just about after the fact. There is some space there, but we'll have to see if his foot was on the bag right now.
I mean, Holbrook was right at the end, right? The Abreu was off the bag at the end, and that's what you just saw with the zoom in. Question is, did he have it long enough? Well, let's see.
The ball did beat Rosales by plenty to first base, and he is going to be safe.
I think when we hear from Major League Baseball about it, it will be that the call stands.
Yep.
Not confirmed, but stands, and now Frazier is out of here.
He doesn't want to make any contact with the umpires, that's for sure.
And here's Ricky Renteria to come out and defend his guy again, and we'll see if Ricky remains in this game. Ricky is really hot.
He looks like he is heading for yet another one of those early exits.
Ricky doesn't like the last couple times he's seen his guys get ejected. He doesn't like the quick hook. and he just got run for the second straight game. He thinks that his guys deserve to be able to vent a little bit.
And we talked about that before the game with the discussion about the umpiring now and the umpiring, let's say 20 years ago or so, where you could have animated discussions with umpires that gave you a little more leniency. If you didn't say what are the magic words, then you usually got a chance to state your case. So Ricky comes out to defend Todd Frazier, and what he felt probably was a bit of a quick hook.
Well, it's two quick hooks.
Yep.
He feels like Anderson got the quick hook yesterday, and this is residual plus.
There's a play. Jose thought his foot was on the bag because he stood there in that stretch position for a long time. And the one thing you realize, you never see Jose Abreu argue very much, if at all.
So Frazier gets run very quickly. And now in that circumstance, Frazier was not walking away like Anderson was yesterday, but Ricky Renteria is just kind of tired of having to deal with this sort of thing, I think.
Yep.
So the Sox have to make some wholesale changes here.
Hansen goes to second. It looks like Engel's in center field. Sanchez moves to third base. Only in the shift he's actually playing shortstop, which is his natural position.
The convenient shift.
Yeah, he shifted.
So there's Sanchez playing nominally third base, Engel into center, and Hansen over to second base. Avi Garcia got the hook a week ago from pointing to his eyes on the way back to the dugout, but he was on the way back to the dugout. Anderson made a comment to Jim Wolf yesterday and was on his way back to the dugout, and Ricky Renteria feels like his guys need a little bit more leeway in a highly competitive sport than first or second thing out of your mouth you get run. Now Frazier today did not have the same kind of feeling to it, that he was walking away to his position. However, after two that looked fairly similar, Garcia and Anderson, you can see why Renteria is pretty much over it.
Yeah, he's absolutely gonna go out and defend his guys. That's just what he does. And so you pretty much knew. I mean, you could tell as this was escalating that Ricky was going to get thrown out of this one. Then when you throw your cap, that's usually the exit sign. There you go.
What a series so far. And there is ball one to Olsen.
That's hard to believe. The first career ejection for Todd Frazier.
Played the game for a long time.
He really has.
Todd's an emotional guy. He's a vocal guy. As that ball slugged to center field, Engel is back on it, and Engel has no play. After his first home run, Olsen very quickly spotted his second home run.
We've been told that Olsen has a whole lot of power, and we've seen it up close and personal today. Our Ford home run replay. He goes down and gets one, inner half, drives it over the center field wall, and this one made it by plenty.
Olsen has driven in 4. His total was 3 before this game. Anderson at short knocks it down and out. The call at first. Abreu looks at his foot on the bag. Maybe not the greatest idea for hanging around in the ball game, but
Bob Melvin wants to see that one again. He, in his own mind, thinks that Healy beat the play at first base. So Tim has it drop out of the glove, and Bob Melvin wants him to take another look.
he's safe, Steve.
Looked to me like, I mean, with the naked eye, looked like he was in. We'll have to see what they see in New York again.
If the call is safe, there is going to be a lot of booing here at the ballpark. Oh, yeah. Calls come in safe. It is much more difficult in this day and age to provide a makeup call because electronics don't allow you to do so.
And now it forces Bob Rosenberg to make a call, and that was E6 on the play. That's error number 17 for Tim.
Two errors in the inning. And here is Chris Davis. So Petrichka with errors all over the place, people getting ejected all around him. He's essentially Nero here in the 7th inning.
Not much you can do except stand out there and keep throwing them.
Into left center field, and that's going to be a long run for Engel. Healy is on his way into third. Davis with a 1-out single.
And with that base hit, every one of the starters has at least one hit. For Jake, this was a sinker that didn't sink, and Davis took advantage of it.
Now the A's in 5 separate innings have exactly 2 runs. There's a strike for Yonder Alonso. Can't help but imagine Mark Burley sitting somewhere and saying, boy, games feel like they take a little longer than they used to.
He was the king of get it, throw it, and get it over quickly. To the tune one game against Seattle, we talked about it, 139, an hour and 39 minutes. 1-0 victory against Ryan Franklin.
Frank Thomas said it in his remarks in the pregame ceremony. Mark always wanted to get us out of there in about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
He did that.
Frank's piece of advice that I thought was maybe the most interesting to Burley as he left the podium, he said, stop being modest. You belong in this spot. There's strike 3 on Alonso. And 2 down here in the 7th inning. Sox fans, check out the Craft Cave located in right field. The Craft Cave features over 75 craft beers, a full bar menu including craft burgers, and a lively atmosphere for all fans. For an additional charge, you can sit in the bullpen porch, a 2-tiered open-air section above the visiting bullpen throughout the game. For more information, 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com.
One of the greatest things that was said during the course of my career, and it was said to a lot of different people, was the All-Star Game luncheon. Vin Scully was the speaker. It's the only All-Star Game ever played in Dodger Stadium. It was 1980. And Vin Scully looked at all of us sitting there, National League, American League, and said, boys, you better enjoy this, because if the blink of an eye, you're going to go from an All-Star Game to an old-timers game. you better have a good time with every minute that is afforded you to play professional baseball. And he was so right at the time. I had no conception of the fact that my career would last less than 2 more years. So he was right. Seemingly in a blink of an eye, you go from an all-timers game, you go from an all-star to an all-timers game.
To left field by Maxwell and toward the corner. Strike 2. Adam Burley even said it while he was up here with us. He said, look, you never know what's going to happen. You never know when you don't have the opportunity anymore, so you might as well enjoy the thing while you can. And it was cool to see him with his kids here because they had not really experienced his career. This was a flashback for him, but the first time for them in a lot of ways.
And what he said about that was when they talked about 300 wins, because Tom Glavine got there, and he said, I won't be around that long, because he didn't want to miss all of that time seeing his children grow up. You know, if you think about it, at the age he is now, and he's been retired for a bit, he's 38 years old, but Jamie Moyer had 8 more years in the major leagues left at that same age.
Off Petrichka to second base and playable for Hansen to retire the side. We're going to show you some defense when we come back around Major League Baseball. The A's lead in this one 10-2.
And it's a couple of defensive gems. Tommy Pham out of nowhere. Catch probability 26%. A 4-star catch. Gregory Polanco comes in. Didn't have much time, and his play probability 35%. And Polanco again. 16%. A 5-star catch.
And here is the very magnetic personality left-hander Daniel Coulombe.
Daniel comes on for the 31st time. He's been brilliant out of the bullpen at 1-1. His ERA 1.85. He's been one of the consistent bright spots. Left-handers have done nothing with him. He's only allowed a couple of home runs.
Sanchez first. And ball number 1. How about Daniel Gossett today?
I thought he was pretty good. He got the curveball over when he threw it on the first pitch. That was one of the real impressive things he did. He only gave up 5 hits.
To right field, and Olsen on the drift to the warning track. We're out number 1. Sox fans, join us as the White Sox take on the Seattle Mariners Saturday, July 15th, 6:10 p.m. First 20,000 fans get a White Sox cap presented by the Private Bank. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
The A's bullpen up and going. And it's John Axford who is a former closer, and he was a good one.
We got a couple former closers on this roster.
It gives the guys who are currently trying to close a little help when you get former closers that are now either setup men or first guy out of the bullpen situations.
You ever have the desire to close?
No, I got one save in my career. It was almost like a Mark Burley situation, but his was in the World Series, the big show. Mine was a little later in the year and was against Oakland, of all teams. We had run out of pitchers, and Chuck Tanner told me just go down the bullpen and throw. So I went down the bullpen and throw. I saw him. I was the only one throwing. I saw him walking to the mound. It was in the 10th inning with the bases loaded. We were up 1-0. And I figured, well, he's just out there for a chat because I've never closed in my life. Nope, I was wrong. He started motioning. He's tapping his right arm, and I'm looking around. I'm the only one there. It's got to be me. So I went in and I threw 7 straight curveballs and struck out Joe Rudy and Gene Tennis and got my single save of my professional career. Never wanted another one. Never wanted to try at another one.
What were you doing during the innings prior? Mark Burley has a great story for what he was doing.
Well, I was sitting in the dugout like most starting pitchers between starts, and Chuck said, well, you never know what's going to happen as he's going through pitcher after pitcher. And I said, why don't you change, because I had tennis shoes on, change your shoes and just, take a run down the bullpen, loosen up a little bit. And when you get down there, I'll let you know. And so the call came, and just get him to start throwing the ball. Nothing serious, just, throw the ball, see if you can get yourself loose. And so that's what happened. Not near as exciting as Mark's.
There's out number 2. I like that though. He didn't really tell you what was happening.
No.
He said, don't worry about
just go down. Just relax. Just ease your way into this. And then he went about emptying out at the bullpen. Guy after guy went in. I'm sitting out there having a beautiful day. It was lovely in Oakland, sun shining, gorgeous day. And not exactly as dramatic as Mark Burley in the World Series. There wasn't near as much cheering after it was over. We just know that it was the end of the series and we could actually leave Oakland, which everybody was kind of cheering about.
You didn't have a fridge in the bullpen, did you?
And no, in those days, not anything, nothing.
Not a bottle of water even. Yesterday was bottle of water day for the relief pitchers.
Nothing. They didn't know about hydration when I came in the league. We were all pruned up usually. No hydration at all.
They invented electrolytes 8 years after your career was over?
We didn't even hear about those. We thought they were something that you had for night games.
2 strikes on Melky from Daniel Coulomb. Melky with an RBI single in the 3rd. He's now got a hit in 15 of his last 17 games. One, 2 in the dirt. On the ground, third base side for Healy. And that will do it. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Coulomb. No bigger stage for a quick relief appearance than Mark Burley in the 14th inning. Game 3, and the celebration was on.
in Chicagoland is rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. E-Click Lending. Oh, the mortgage just happened.
An undersold boom.
That was the quiet ease into it boom. Backed up by massive sound effects, however.
I think our truck just exploded. That just happened. New pitcher for the Sox.
Tommy Kahnle comes in the ball game. He's on for the 30th time. 1.23 ERA, and even guys that aren't closing need an inning every now and then. Kahnle needs an inning of work. Right-handers have hit 117. They haven't done a whole lot with him.
Well, Tommy Kahnle and his magical season continue on. He'll face Barreto first. In the air, right field, Avi Garcia for out number 1. Crush home runs and dominate in your very own Derby competition in the official MLB.com Home Run Derby game on the App Store and Google Play. Swing for the fences against more than 10 million players from around the world as your favorite Derby All-Star. By the way, on Tommy Kahnle, you look at 2014, he had a 4.19 ERA. He ended up walking 31 guys in 68 2/3. Then 2015, he walked 28 in 33 1/3. Last year walked 20 in 27 1/3. But he is the poster child for why scouts love live arms, because if they can figure out the secondary pitch, the command, numbers like this can show up.
It's happened too many times to be just accidental, and that is a pitcher has limited success in other places, comes to Don Cooper, and all of a sudden finds what he's been missing. And for Tommy Kahnle, you know, we've heard of guys that throw a little bit harder in a given year, or maybe they refine, they get a new grip on either a slider or curveball, they get a better breaking pitch. Tommy hasn't changed anything. He just gets everything over the plate now. And that straight change that he throws has been as close to unhittable as any pitch around. It's anywhere from 88 to 91, which is, you know, 91 mile an hour straight change is the equivalent to an average major league fastball. So you don't have any chance to regroup. If a guy is fooled, if he thinks it's a fastball, he can't get any kind of good swing at it, and that's been the case all year. When you look at his walk to strikeout ratio, it's literally overwhelming. And you have a pitcher who always struck out enough guys but walked too many, and now 50 strikeouts and 6 walks in less than 30 innings.
High in the air, angle in center field on the retreat, and he has out number 2. He's in search of the very first 1-2-3 inning for Sox pitching today. In fact, he's in search of the first inning in which Sox pitchers have seen only 4 batters. So here's Adam Rosales against Kahnle, who is 3rd in strikeouts per 9 in the American League for relievers. 15.3 strikeouts per 9 for Tommy Kahnle so far this year. He is the 4th best reliever ERA in the league.
His first pitch slider, and he got it over the plate.
By the way, if he was just fastball changeup, that would be scary enough, but then he mixes in that slider too.
That's a pitch that was, if not non-existent last year, he had it, just couldn't hit with it.
Two strikes on Rosales. He got him on the corner, strike 3. That was fast. 10-2 your score. today? Because I think over the course of time, again, like you said, your candidacy changes. So we'll see. I know where he sits in our hearts, and that he's absolutely in the White Sox Hall of Fame, and we'll see how it plays out.
There you look at the numbers for John Axford, who comes in. I agree with one thing Chuck said, and that was that he said one of the reasons why Burley's numbers and his accomplishments will look better in time is that you're not going to have any winners of 300 games anymore. It'd be very difficult to get to that number with a combination of injuries that have happened to a lot of pitchers, and the fact that they're on a 5-man rotation, and the fact that they've limited the amount of innings that starting pitchers usually work. It's going to be tough to win 300.
That's called strike 3. Abreu strikes out on 3 against Axford. And let's take a look at essentially the resume for Mark Buehrle. 14 straight seasons, 10 or more wins, 30+ starts, 200+ innings. Great fielder at his position, 5-time All-Star. I mean, those are superlative numbers.
The games over 500 are a testament to his competitiveness with less than the greatest stuff in the world. Find the same guy with a no-hitter and a perfect game. You can wait a long time for that.
Buehrle forever, as the shirts said. I think that's the way everybody who is here today feels. Obvious strikeout and a ground out and a pop out so far in the game today. And he takes that strike, 1-1. Looked like the Sox might chip away here. It was 6-2 after 4, after a run in the 3rd and a run in the 4th, and then in the 5th, after Oakland scored 2, the Sox got the first 2 runners on, but could not score. Healy has been a busy man recently at 3rd, and he's across the way in time for out number 2. The fans nearby at first are wondering if, at least sarcastically, Alonso had his foot on the bag. Jose Abreu is deemed to not have had his foot on the bag on a ball in inning number 7. Todd Frazier, Ricky Renteria ejected in the game. Tim Anderson, Ricky yesterday.
Ricky's 2 for 2, but I love the fact that he comes out in any situation to defend his players. And both times he started to come out, but couldn't get there soon enough to defend them.
Healy at 3rd on the speedy angle for out number 3. You mentioned the couple no-hitters that Mark Buehrle has thrown. The standout performance in 2009, July 23rd. 27 up, 27 down. Alexi and Buehrle.
Yankees as the homestand continues. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. on CSN, or stream the game live on the NBC Sports app or at csnchicago.com. And David Robertson comes in the ball game. He's going to pick up an inning of work.
The former Yankee with strike one to Joyce.
On for the 24th time in saves, 11 for 12. Hasn't had that many opportunities to save games because there hasn't been that many wins to this point. But David's thrown it real well. The ERA at 3.20. His curveball is back. 37 strikeouts and 25 in the third innings.
Like Joyce went around.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
10-2, ninth inning.
He went.
You're getting that one called a strike.
Though I think it was.
But he swung at it anyway.
Yeah.
But you're still getting it called a strike.
0-2. That would be more difficult to be believable on a strike. Bullpen up and going for the Oakland A's and Michael Brady. You showed amazing restraint there, Steve.
Yes, I know.
And there is strike three, one down. Sox fans, join StubHub. Your ticket to once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Maybe you don't have great restraint. From Chicago White Sox games to amazing concerts and shows you don't want to miss, StubHub, your ticket out. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Chicago White Sox. So here's Matt Olson, who's had a decidedly career day with his very first home run and then his very second home run, just 6 innings apart. Checked his swing, and Olson didn't go.
Quite a day for the young right fielder, who is an excellent first baseman.
Drafted out of Parkview High School in Georgia in the same draft that Joey Gallo was taken in the first round. 8 picks prior, Gallo was. Olson was 47th, Gallo 39th. Lucas Giolito as well in that draft, that first round. He was taken 16th overall by the Nationals, one spot after Tyler Naquin of Cleveland.
And Mike Rizzo, the general manager at that point and now the president, he drafted him knowing he'd have to have surgery. And that's exactly what happened. Giolito threw unbelievably well, then had the surgery. Now he's battling his way back, and he's a member of the Sox minor league organization, coming over in the Adam Eaton deal.
It's good to see the other day, by the way. Adam was out at Nationals Park. He had posted a picture on his Twitter account getting loose and starting that recovery from the injury from earlier this year that he suffered with a long step onto first.
That was a blow for the Nationals. Not that you're seeing it in the standings, but Adam Eaton was going to hit in the neighborhood of 300 for them. And you take a left-handed bat out of the lineup.
They don't seem to have any challengers to that NL East throne. Atlanta's 9 back at the start of play today, and I think the Nationals have beaten the Reds already today in a shutout win. Seems as though the best race in the National League is going to be in the West, where the Dodgers have gotten exceedingly hot and they're very home run happy.
They've got some really unbelievable young hitters, and we're going to see them because we play a home-and-home 2-game series with the Dodgers this year. And you look at Seager at shortstop and Bellinger, who's hit 10 home runs in 10 days. So they've had their injury problems too, but it hasn't stopped them at all. And you're right, it's going to be a terrific race. Colorado having a big year, and Arizona a surprising year.
Strike 3 called. And 2 down.
Fastball shaved off the outside corner.
So Olsen at first, 2 out, and Robertson against Chris Davis, who nearly had to scatter. Ball 1. Sox and A's will play again tomorrow. 1:10 start time. Sonny Gray versus Derek Holland. And Chris Davis continues the top of the 9th. Looks like the Sox are going to have some work to do to win the season series against Oakland. Sox came in to this season having won 14 of the last 19 against Oakland, and 1 more left in this series before the Yankees are in town for 4.
Yankees in town, and a big 4-game series. They haven't played real good baseball recently. It's a good team. It's got some terrific young players. You're going to certainly like them. But they're going to be exciting to watch. Between Sanchez and Judge, they'll put on a show in batting practice and hopefully not in the games.
Yeah, those are the types of guys that you want to get here to see early, if at all possible. Two strikes on Yonder Alonso, who has not looked terribly comfortable for most of the day at the plate.
DJ Rayburn went down on one knee, and I'm not sure exactly what happened. But Kevin is going to give him some time. The umpire is going to take a look at him. They're wondering what went on, and all 3 umpires converging on Rayburn. He might have got hit with the backswing. Nope, he didn't do that. I think Kevin got him as he took 1 step back to smother that low breaking ball.
I think he might have gotten clipped with the ball on the way back, too.
Says he's okay. Herm Schneider's coming out. He wants a word with him. Herbie asked Jim Wolf, how do you feel? He's the third base umpire. I feel okay. It's the other guy. Herbie just checking on all the umpires, and that is what the home trainer always does. As you see the shadow starting to creep across home plate here in the late afternoon.
No go for Alonso on a ball near the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's strike 3. Robertson strikes out the side, and we'll play bottom 9 as we go nearer our destination, and the more we're slip sliding away. The fun-loving Mark Burley. Don't do it again, you'll get fined.
Miller moments and something. Take a close look at it because you've never seen it before unless you're really old. 3 first-time home runs in the same game. Absolutely astonishing. Brugman, Barreto, and Olson in the same game. And it's the second time, but we have to go back to the Kansas City Packers of the Federal League. Back in 1914, April 26th, was a cool day, but the ball was flying, and Duke Kenworthy was a terrific player. I remember Art Kruger, he was limited, and John Potts, well, he was all right. I mean, for the Federal League, they were fine. So they all hit their first home runs as professional Federal League players. And we got a new pitcher coming into the ball game. It's Michael Brady on for the 3rd time. There you look at the numbers. He's got an 8-run lead to protect.
He does. The Kansas City Packers, by the way, were not around terribly long. They were a 2-year franchise. But they got their history and just squeezed it in under the wire.
It's terrific. I had the under 3 years, so I was feeling pretty good about it back in 1914.
Here is Matt Davidson with a foul ball. Oddly enough, you don't hear a whole lot about the Kansas City Packers museum going up.
Well, they weren't near as good as, if you recall, the team that really came on, the Cleveland Spiders. Remember the Cleveland Spiders? Lost 120 games one year, I believe.
They didn't make it through.
It was a tough year. It was a really tough year for them. Played in a lot of bad luck. It was like 1890 something.
Two strikes on Davidson. Oakland took the lead in the first just like yesterday and is not giving it up. Well, today was one of those days that with a sellout crowd of 38,618 at the outset for Mark Buehrle's retirement ceremony. It's one of those days that I think people are going to be talking about for a while, and my sense is, and I know he's beloved by Sox fans, and I know he has been, but I think there's an even greater appreciation for Mark Buehrle, the guy, just after the way he handled himself down on the field and everything that his teammates said about him and his coaches said about him and everybody who talked about him today, and the way he was carrying himself around his family and how much they matter to him. He is a top-notch guy.
His accomplishments on the field are really wonderful, and what he accomplished with what he had. He got literally squeezed every ounce of his ability out of himself during the course of his career. But knowing Mark a little bit, not as well as some, but certainly a little, I think he was as excited today about his son singing the national anthem and his daughter throwing out the first pitch than he was about his entire career. I mean, he was very happy with his career, but watching your children do what they did today with the opportunity to sing the national anthem and throw out the first pitch, you could tell both parents were just beaming as they watched their kids getting an opportunity that they might not get again.
Braden did a great job with the national anthem.
He was terrific, and
Brooklyn's first pitch got there. Very nicely done.
And taking a look at the faces of the folks when that happened was worth the price of admission for a lot of people here today.
And if you missed it, Mark Buehrle had that play he made defensively, the between the legs play, and he never saw the baseball from it. In fact, he signed it for the young man who ended up with the baseball, and that young man, Tommy Maloney, was here today in order to give that ball back to Mark Buehrle in honor of his retirement of his jersey today.
Well, we don't want to lose sight of the fact that the 3 home runs will be remembered by the players who hit their first major league home runs on the same day. but also Gossett will pick up his first major league win. And this is a game that he'll never forget, too. So a young pitcher gets it done. And he threw very well. He deserved to get a win, had a lot of help. But he went 6. And Gossett gave up a couple of runs, only 1 earned on 5 hits. A couple of runs, none earned, actually.
Error in the 3rd, error in the 4th, where the Sox scored their 2 runs. And Oakland with 5 2 spots.
So we saw 2 of the youngsters for Oakland. We saw Cotton yesterday and Gossett today, and they both got breaking pitches over early in the count and both threw the ball very well.
0-2 from Brady. One, 2 for Smith. And Kevin stays alive. Again, 1:10 tomorrow. Derek Collins, Sonny Gray, your pitching matchup. Should be a good one. Coca-Cola Family Sunday. Kids get to run the bases after the game, weather permitting.
And hopefully the weather will permit. Because with Oakland only coming in once, got to get the 3rd game of the series in.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And there is strike 3. Smith is out, and Oakland has won. 10-2, the final score on Mark Burley Day.
Didn't work out real well. It still was a wonderful day, and long after the score and this performance is forgotten, the remembrances of Mark Burley and the honors bestowed upon him today will live on. So, day game tomorrow. Let's get some better luck.
See you then. Sox and A's in Game 3 coming up tomorrow from here at Guaranteed Rate Field. For our producer, Keon Dolan-Shahi, our director, Jim Angio, associate producer, Dave Ross, technical manager, Mark Harper, and the executive producer, Jim Corno Jr. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. On behalf of our entire crew, saying so long from Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. Coming up next, Subaru Post-Game Live. Mark Burley and family enjoying the day here in Chicago. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on CSN.